First of all, I'm jealous. I had a meeting this morning at my facility for emergency operations, and it's not as nice as yours. So I don't know how y'all did that, but congratulations to you. Yeah, I suspect that's right. But look, it is a pleasure to be here with you today. I wish it weren't under these circumstances, but we are not looking at the worst case scenario. A week ago, we all thought that it was going to be a lot worse than it is. And it's still a major flood event, and that was going to be the case whether or not the Morganza was open. But we're all relieved that they're not going to have to open it, and that would have added a lot of water down here. And as I just said, I've instructed all of your state partners to work with you to make sure that we're communicating effectively, that we're as responsive as we can be, and that we move towards a permanent solution down here with respect to Bayou Chene as soon as possible. I met with Colonel Hanson, and I also met with other folks with the Corps of Engineers recently, and in every meeting I have pressed them on that. It's my understanding that the permit that was issued in 2011 was actually good for 5 years, so they didn't have to reissue a permit this year. But were this to happen again next year, they're going to have to issue a new permit. You've got the state permit, and of course there is some litigation. There may be a complicating factor, and we're going to have to figure out what role that's going to play. But clearly, every time we have an event like this, and it's hard to talk about a flooding event when you've got blue skies and everything seems to be very nice. But every time you have an event like this, there are lessons that you can learn to figure out what you can do better next time, how you can communicate better, how you can cooperate better, and obviously we can deliver better assistance. But I will tell you that Governor Jindal was very gracious. We knew that this flood event was going to span the end of his administration, the beginning of mine. And so starting a couple of weeks ago, he's involved me and my folks in all of the meetings to make sure that this was going to be as seamless as possible with respect to the transition. So we are on top of things, and I'm very thankful that it's not going to be worse than it is. But it is a major flood event down here. And so I know that you all are doing everything that you can to stay on top of it. I do want to thank the legislators who came down with me today, Beryl Lamade and Senator Alon and Representative Jones. And I have some others here who were with me because we just came from Krotz Springs, and they represent that area. And of course, Rick Ward is a senator. He doesn't represent this district, but if that closure doesn't take place and that water moves back up north, then it certainly gets back into his district. So he wanted to come along as well. I want to thank all of the folks who work for me because they have been doing a tremendous job. Glenn Curtis, and he's been at this a while. Mike Edmondson, I've been at this a while. That's one of the reasons, that's a huge reason why they are still with state government, because I know how effective they can be in responding to these types of events. And so, everybody in the state of Louisiana ought to be a little bit more comforted by the fact that they are still in the administration and doing the work that they're doing. As you can tell, we're standing up a new state team, and I've got many of those people here with me today. We're going to be your partners, and I want you to call on us so we can work with you. I've instructed them to be as responsive as they can be always. Now, the fact of the matter is we have some serious limitations on what we can do right now based on funding. It is critically important that all of the costs that you incur on this event, you capture those, document them properly, submit those, because we are not yet at the threshold that we need to be to get the federal disaster declaration. And once we do that, then there is a 25% reimbursement that will be forthcoming. And we're on top of that with Jim Wascom at the Governor's Office of Homeland Security. But we do need your assistance on that to make sure that we're capturing that information. And I would just ask you to remain vigilant. If I remember right from this briefing, it was 1973 to 2011, and from 2011 to 2016. So hopefully that doesn't indicate that these things are going to become that much more frequent.